It is possible to turn God himself into an idol. I've noticed that there are some people who make their own version of God, who don't take God for who he is, what he calls for, make their own version of God in their head. But the thing is, that isn't God. If we form our own version of God that deviates from his word, that is idolatry. We have to take the God of Abraham, Isaac and Jacob as he is, and who he is loving and just. Someone who loved us so much that he sent his only son to carry the world's sins on his shoulders and redeem us all. As I've stated in a previous video, God cannot contradict himself. He is loving and just. And while he is loving and forgiving, justice still must be given. His son took the punishment upon himself. Therefore, the penalty for our sin was paid off. We have to meet God halfway, and that's by cultivating a relationship with his son Jesus, praying regularly and reading the Holy Bible. The thing is, faith without works is dead. If we are not taking up our cross, bearing the weight of Jesus' suffering, as it is said, a servant is no greater than his master, we will go through times of trouble. If we're going to follow Jesus, then we must take up our cross and follow him. God knows what it means to suffer, as he sent his only son to incarnate in human form and suffered the most unbearable agony, and we too will suffer throughout life. I wanted to point something else out. Something I always used to say to myself is, oh, I'll donate to charities once I start cultivating a lot of money. But then recently I read a passage from the Gospel of Mark called The Widow's Offering, and this changed my perspective on things regarding how much we have and how much we're willing to give. In Mark chapter 12 verses 41 to 44, this is Jesus is watching people giving donations to the offering box, and he saw many rich people putting in lots of money from their vast amounts of wealth. But then an old widow came along, didn't put in much. Jesus turned and said to his disciples that this old widow has put in more than all the other rich people combined, because that money was all she had to live on, and she gave it. So it doesn't matter how much money we have, even if we have so little. If we are willing to share what we have for others, that means more than being rich and donating a small sum from a large amount. It's the intent behind it that counts.